Okay, I am broadcasting live. It is January 13th, but it's about 8:56 on Wednesday, January 13th. When I'm broadcasting, class doesn't start for another 10 minutes, so I'm just trying to get my system up and running. If you're watching the live stream or the recorded video, you'll need to skip ahead a little bit. I'm going to sit here and try and make sure my settings are all in place. All right, let's test face. And not sure if that's working. We're going to go in game and make sure that we've got everything working okay. In game is showing a recording. There we go. All right, I'm live. And if you click in game on the screen, so we're going to change that. Not live yet. There we go. All right, I'm live. There we go. All right, I'm live. And if you click in game on the screen, and if you click in game on the screen, and if you click in game on the screen, and if you click in game on the screen, click in game on the screen. I'm like Danger Mouse. Okay, so what's happening is my audio in game. Okay, so what's happening is my audio in game. Audio in game is being rerouted through my broadcast. So I need to stop my audio in game. So testing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, I need to add something to my checklist to make sure that my notifications are off. Okay, let's try this again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 30. Everything went quiet in game. Let's see. Test, test, test. Everything went quiet in game. 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 My audio connection is not. Respecting what I want it to do here. Respecting what I want it to do here. Respecting what I want it to do here. Test, 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 test. Testing, testing, testing. Testing, testing, testing. Testing, testing, testing. Testing, testing, testing. Test, test, test. Test, test, test. Okay, media volume does not seem to be working for me. Media volume does not seem to be working for me. Media volume does not seem to be working for me. Media volume does not seem to be working for me. Let's try that. I adjusted the output for game, and let's see what happens. Let's try that. I adjusted the output for game, and let's see what happens. Let's try that. I adjusted the output for game, and let's see what happens. Let's try that. I adjusted the output for game. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. That was no good. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. That was no good. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. That was no good. All right, I'm going to try turning down master volume. All right, I'm going to try turning down master volume. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. All right, I'm adjusting audio, and I'm going to hit a button that says more. Nearby media, there's YouTube. Ah, there it is. Got it. Test, 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 test. No. It's quiet. Quiet. I can't seem to do anything except for test, test, test. Testing, testing. Still coming through my headset. Okay, I'm gonna try and change my audio. Okay, audio on Mac is set up to just my headset, but media is still supposed to be muted here. And then I've also got sound going through. Okay, testing now. Stop the media. Okay, so media stopped in game. That's good, I guess. Playing the media again in game. Testing, testing, testing. And trying to adjust media volume again. Media volume all the way down. One, two, three, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32. Okay, well, let's see. I'm broadcasting live, but I can't listen to myself live. So we're going to have to just see if this is going to work. Okay, let's see. Let's go to sound. And I'm going to go back to multi-output device. And that's set up. And now I'm going to play that live. And now I'm going to play some music. Hey folks, can you see the screen right now? Is the screen broadcasting my face for those of you that are in game? Test, test. Oh, my VPN's not on. Stand by. Add that to the checklist too. Oh, I think it's already there actually. Test, test, test. Testing. I was just kicked off Firestorm when I switched VPN. Stand by, trying to get back. Okay, boy, oh boy. Stand by here. Let's see. All right, so the first thing I'm going to do is I'm not even talking. Okay. All right, I am going to cut off my
Yeah, I can hear you in game, Dr. Patterson.
live in YouTube. Okay, so can someone confirm that they can hear me on YouTube? I am talking on YouTube. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Can you hear me through the screen? Test, test, test. Great. All right, Adeline, can you hear me through the screen? You guys can speak in game. I can hear you in game, but I am not speaking through game because I don't want to double speak through YouTube and through game. And the other thing is there's a slight delay on the screen, so there might be some weird lags while we try and figure this out. Ben says he's getting double. Oh yeah, sorry, I didn't turn off my in-game. There you go. All right. Ethan, did you download the most recent version of Firestorm? Because the most recent version of Firestorm is necessary in order to see the YouTube. The VPN is what we took care of last time. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and give you the direct YouTube link, but there are a few things that we're going to do in game as well, so we need to figure that out. Um, you need to click on the screen. I am broadcasting through YouTube. All right, I'm double broadcasting now. I'm speaking in game and I'm speaking on the screen. In order to be able to hear me in game, you need to have the VPN on. In order to hear me on the screen, you need to have clicked on the screen above in order for me to broadcast. The double audio is really annoying, so I'm going to turn off my in-game speaking, although I can hear you in game. I am off now. I am no longer speaking in game. I am no longer speaking in game. I'm just speaking through the YouTube video. All right. So follow me for a second. What I'm going to do is show you a tool that we can use in order to help get this set up a little bit easier. Um, hop up in-game in your avatar, and I'm going to briefly switch gears to talking in-game so it's a little bit more seamless. I am talking in-game. Checklist to describe what's happening because some of us are struggling. All right. So here's the first thing on the checklist. The first thing on the checklist is to find a quiet location and tell your roommates that you're in class so that they can keep down the background noise. That's important because if you have your mic off and you have dogs barking or dishes being cleaned or a pillow fight going on behind you, that's being broadcast to the entire class and it makes it difficult for the rest of the class to concentrate. It would be great if you could find a quiet location without other people around to take the class from. I know that's not always possible, but be aware of background noise. I'd prefer us to have mics off so that we can just talk like a normal classroom, but that may not be possible. You need to make sure that you have headphones. The reason why you have to make sure that you have headphones is because it reduces echo. By putting your headphones on, the things that are being said in class won't be picked up by the mic and then rebroadcast again over and over again. So putting on headphones reduces echo. That's important. Shutting down extra apps or browser tabs. So if you are able to shut down other apps on your computer, for example, browser tabs open to news, or if you have, I don't know, instant messaging or YouTube or anything open, what's going on with your extra apps and your browser tabs is that they're stealing CPU cycles from your computer that would otherwise be being used by Eclipse, which we're going to use, by YouTube, by Firestorm. You need as many cycles as you can to keep the class up and running. I have to do the same thing. A couple things that are tricky for me that I have to shut down is I have to make sure I have my backup. I have an app that is making a backup of my hard drive through Time Machine. I have to shut that down because that steals some resources that I need. The next thing to do is to make sure you've opened a window to Canvas because in Canvas we're going to be sharing some resources and that's also where our calendar and everything is. That's good to have open. You need to open Eclipse, which is something that we installed at the end of last class. So if you don't have Eclipse installed, you are behind right now. You need to activate your VPN. The VPN is the open VPN that we worked on last class, and what that's going to enable us to do is talk in game. I can Slack you some credentials for that if you didn't get credentials last time. I thought most of us got it set up though. Excuse me. Then once you're on your VPN, but after you've set up your VPN, then you start Firestorm. If you try and start your VPN after Firestorm is open, Firestorm may crash like it did for me at the beginning of this class. I hadn't started my VPN. I'm going to cough again. Hang on. All right, not COVID. Okay, the next thing to do is to rebake your avatar. That's for presentation in class. So that means going under Avatar, Avatar Health. This is in Firestorm, and then Force Appearance Update. This is volunteer written software. It's all open source. It's not commercial software. So that's a bug in the interaction between the Firestorm client and the server. Just something to make sure that you look. If you look like an orange cloud to someone, the way to fix that is for you to rebake your avatar. The tricky thing about your avatar is you might look fine, but you look like an orange cloud to everyone else. So that's why I put it on the checklist, because whether or not you think you look good is different than whether other people think you look good. The next thing to do is just so we're in the same environment, go under and set the environment to midday. So if you go under world and then environment and then set it to midday, you'll get a lighting environment in the game that's consistent with what everyone else is experiencing. And that way we'll all sort of be in the same environment. This is also a bug. I checked with the developers over break. Ideally, what would happen is we would just um, automatically be sort of in a normal day cycle where when it's morning in game, when it's night in game. But the next version of the server is going to fix that. But for now, we have to manually just set the time at midday for us to experience the same environment and for it to be light out. So let's set the environment. Then set draw distance to a low number. So if you go under avatar and under preferences and you go under graphics and then you set your draw distance down to something like, it depends on how fast your computer is, but something like maybe 300. What that does is it reduces how far away you can see things. For example, the lighthouse is pretty far away, and if you set the draw distance down low, you won't see the lighthouse through the window. So on the one hand, your experience is reduced, like you don't have as good of an experience in game because you're not seeing as far, but it reduces demands on your computer, so you have less laggy behavior as you move your avatar around. The next one is to go to the classroom. So we're here. So for now, we're just going to be in this is called the Granville Hall Auditorium. So for now, this is the auditorium we're going to be in. That'll switch over time. Make sure that you can see your classmates' names. So over each of the avatar, you should see everyone's name hovering over them. And that's helpful because it, it's nice to know who you're talking to in real game. So if you're not seeing name tags over everyone, then you go to Avatar, Preferences, General, Name Tags, and turn it on. And then the last thing to do is to test audio by having a conversation with a classmate. And you have to be near them in order for that to work. Okay, so let's go back and have a seat. Taking a seat actually helps the server a little bit, reduces the physics engine, although it's kind of working fine for me right now. And let's take a moment and just make sure that we bring anyone else up to speed that is having trouble connecting. All right. All right, so looking in chat in game, I see that Addie is trying to connect on VPN. YouTube video. Oh, here, let me give you, for those of you who are struggling until you can get it figured out, I'm going to take the video link and I'm going to drop it in game. And I'm not sure if Addie is set up or not, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to send Addie credentials again through Slack just to make sure she's got them. These are credentials for doing voice. Stand by. Wow. Stand by. Where are they? Addie, I'm looking for your credentials. Oh, there they are. Okay, great. Oh no, that's not the right credentials. There we are. Found them. All right, Addie, I'm sending you credentials in a private message in Slack so that you can install them in game. Okay, I'm turning my attention now to other direct messages in Slack. Faith says that she's trying to figure out Discord and stuff. We're not in Discord right now. Frank can't get into OpenSim right now, so let me send him the link here. That's the YouTube link for the live broadcast for the time being. Did Frank make it in game? Do we see him? All right. So I'm telling Frank the link to the correct client is in Canvas. It's in Canvas under onboard virtual world. Okay, let's take a look. Right, I'm not speaking in game right now. I'm speaking on YouTube. If it says that video is not, I'm switching in game so that those of you who are okay, back in YouTube. All right, so we are ironing out the technical difficulties with having an online course, but so far so good. Uh, and I am monitoring chat in game, and I am also monitoring audio in game if you guys want to speak up. If anyone has a question, feel free to like come up to the podium, kind of like Josh is right now, and that'll be kind of the equivalent of raising your hand. And what I'll do is I'll stop and I will and let you ask a question. That may be a little bit easier, but you're also welcome to just like, well, I guess speaking maybe isn't the best thing. There is a little lag on YouTube. Landon, looks like you've got, nope, Landon, not sure if you're up or not. For the time being, just come on up and speak because of the lag, I'll be able to pause. Yeah, I see you. I just thought thought you had a comment because you had stood up, but right after I said that, but that's okay. Okay, great. That's a lot. Okay. What I'm going to do is on screen, I'm going to switch to our browser and I am going to bring up Canvas if I can do that. We kind of need to go through some of the course policies. I don't want to spend all day going through course policies though. I do want to get to some material. This is just going to take a little bit. All right, so what I'm broadcasting on screen right now is I'm broadcasting uh, broadcasting Canvas. You also can go to Canvas. I am going to pop up the welcome message here, class one. I realized in talking to some other folks yesterday that the layout maybe isn't totally clear what's happening. But the way this works is when I have a class number here, what this entry is, it looks like an assignment, but that assignment is attendance for the day. So I will fill in that for attendance after I'm able to get it. And that's a good question. How are we going to take attendance day? I'm not quite sure yet. We'll figure that out before we're done. But I also use it as a header. So below this are all the things that we're trying to tackle in class one. Come on down here, you can see we've got all these onboard items. So as you go through these different to-do items, you should have it should be the process of getting all your software up and running. In particular today, hopefully you've got Eclipse up and running. All right, if you don't have Eclipse and Java up and running, then you're going to need to immediately come see me during office hours so that we can debug your system. Everyone's got a different system, and so trying to debug it in class will be one of those computer science nightmares that's part and parcel of the discipline, but we can use our time well by doing that in office hours. Onboard Canvas, you're going to have these things that are in gray are things that are visible to me, but not to you. We're going to have a couple other things go live here, and I'll let you know about them. For example, I'm going to ask you to read through all the course policies and do just a quick comprehension quiz. But let's run through a handful of these and then go from there. Okay. So for starters, you are in CS-030. I hope you are in CS-030. This is abstract models for concrete problems using Java. What we're going to be focusing on in this class is trying to learn about computer science, but using the tool of Java in order to do that. So that means that we're going to be learning about abstract data types. We've learned about these a little bit in Python, and one of the benefits of doing it in two languages is you understand what is it about computer science that's consistent across languages, despite the fact that you're using a different language. We'll see that we have a lot of the same kinds of uh, data types, lists, sets, etc., but implemented in different languages. And so we will see how that we experience that and learn about generalizing through the different languages that way. We're going to introduce some of the formalisms of computer science, some of the ways in which we think about efficiency in computer science. We call that big O notation. That's a more theoretical approach, and we'll talk about that. Software testing and program verification is important for professional work in software, and so we're going to do some of that in the class as well, particularly JUnit testing. And hopefully we'll have some time as well to talk about some ethical issues that arise and possibly some things that happen in current events, because that is often something that happens when we're in this class. Some current event will come up and we can talk about it. Oops, clicking on the wrong screen. All right. Next thing, we are in this class, so it's 9:10 to 10:15. We are going to be meeting in this virtual campus and using the YouTube link. And while the YouTube link is recorded, and so that will be available after class. And in a crisis, kind of like some of you are having with your systems today, you can watch through the YouTube link. But we are also going to need to be able to work in game because there's going to be some stuff in game that we're going to leverage. All right. I let's see. Okay, checking in game. All right, so we will have a TA. There's no TA listed right here, but Josh Cross is going to be acting as a TA. I'm still getting him set up with payroll and timing and all that, so we'll have a little bit more information on how to do that. I prefer to do our communications through Slack as much, our text communications through Slack as much as possible. So um, there is a Slack channel set up for this class right now. I'm just going to post something real quick in that so you can see that. And I just said test pot, which is kind of funny. If you're in the right frame of mind, there's test post. All right, moving on. Tutorial or advising appointments, sometimes called office hours. I've got 3 slots at different times of the day to accommodate your different schedules. They are listed there on the screen, Monday, Thursdays, and Fridays. Typically, I will meet with you in the voice channel. That seems to be most efficient for sharing screens and the kinds of things that need to be done when we're in office hours. There is a red button at the bottom there that's available through Canvas, and what that is it's an opportunity to reserve a schedule in my calendar. When you do that, it shows up on my Google Calendar, and I'm able to see that. The text there just basically says that you don't have to have an appointment to come by office hours, but if you do have an appointment, then you'll have priority, and that's typically important for athletes who are kind of managing their time pretty tightly. All right, add drop policy, use the standard add drop policy. Faculty are handling add drop for courses this semester because of the online nature of everything. I see text is somewhat hard to read on the screen. Okay, let's see what I can do for that. Maybe that's a little bit better for the time being. One of the problems that I'm experiencing right now is because of audio looping, I can't actually see what's happening on the screen um, at the same time that you guys are. And so whatever feedback you can give me about what's happening on the screen is helpful. And I'm taking a look at my YouTube parameters right now and my stream settings. Let's see, I'm checking the stream settings. Stream looks good. Hey, make sure that when you're looking at the screen, there should be a little gear down on the bottom where you can set the quality of the stream. Can you check to see if the gear on the bottom is present and you can increase the quality? So this is YouTube, and like other videos that you watch on YouTube, it it okay, good. It says it's there. Okay, so you can increase the quality of the stream by adjusting the gear icon on the bottom. One of the things that's happening is YouTube is trying to automatically adjust the quality of the video for your network connection. So if you can find a place that has a better network connection, YouTube will default to a higher quality stream. But I think you can manually set that stream quality as well. And I'm not sure what happens if you set it too high. Presumably it just lags. Okay, and I think I'm broadcasting at 1080p for those of you who have high enough quality network. And I'm on a landline, so it's not being driven by my side. And my YouTube panel says that stream status is excellent, so we should be okay. It's okay on my side. Okay, so books. So we've got one book for this class. The book for the class is Big Java. Um, welcome to textbook publishing. It's a little weird because you can't get it bound. You have to get it in like a 3-ring notebook that you put in your own 3-ring notebook. That's too bad. It's a really good textbook. I like it a lot. It just unfortunately you have to get your own binder. It's like Airbnb for textbooks, I guess. All right, so that's the one we'll be going from. We'll be following the content very closely. Philosophy, the clip for my class is similar to all my other classes. Basically, I'm trying to balance out fairness, grace, and integrity and trying to get those three things in place. So fairness to me in terms of what workload I need to tackle, fairness to the other students in terms of what they should be expecting in terms of how I'm treating you and them. Grace, because man, do we live in a complicated world, right? Between insurrection and pandemic and meeting online and holy cow, whatever else we've got going on. I recognize that it's complicated and we're going to have some glitches. So we'll try and lean into grace a little bit. And then finally, integrity as well. We want to make sure that the things that we're doing have integrity. And I don't mean just like not cheating, but I mean that when, for example, I give you a grade, it reflects the fact that it reflects the appropriate amount of work. That the things that you turn in reflect the things that you understand, that as much as possible, we're doing a good job of managing the integrity of the class experience. I like to give a lot of little assignments that build up to an overall grade rather than relying on just one big exam or three big exams. I had some classes as an undergraduate where the grade was based on 2 exams and that was it. And that's sort of maybe not the best for a computer science class. Computer science, of course, is a discipline that's changing all the time, and so you have to learn how to teach yourself. I'm going to help direct you for the time being, but Java versions are changing all the time, and you need to make sure you're understanding where to go to find updated information. And so that's part of the thing that we try and teach you over the course of your program here as well. It's going to take a lot of self-motivation while we're online to work on these programs and to get Eclipse up and running and to find me in office hours and to make sure you're setting aside time in your calendar to read your textbook. All those things are on you. I'm going to help you see what you need to do, but like I can't make you do those things. And the benefit that you get out of your education is going to be driven a lot by whether or not you're able to pull that off. Okay, so I said I don't want to take forever going through some course policies. So we'll continue talking about course policies until we're done. We're not quite done with them yet, but we'll come back to them. What I would like to do today is give you a quick introduction to Eclipse so that we can get rolling on that, and then we'll start walking through chapter 1 of the textbook. I can tell right now it's going to be a little bit of a bumpy start between technology and everything else. So let me shift gears to Eclipse. All right, so I've got Eclipse up and running. I just don't actually have I'm not prepared to broadcast Eclipse. So let me take a second to do that. And while I'm doing that, if you have any questions, this would be a great time to ask them. I know, right, Landon? Up my game since last semester. All right, I have Eclipse up on my computer and I'm trying to get it to a reasonable sized window right now. All right, is it a reasonable sized window? It's so subjective. How do we know? All right, Eclipse is up. Good. And now what I need to do is I need to broadcast Eclipse. So let me see if I can do that. Okay, I'm going to need to add a display capture. I'm going to add a new one. Whoa, that's not it. That's what I'm seeing. All right, let me send that away. Let's try that again. Okay, so it's screwing up my transition here, but we'll cover up my video for the time being. And oh, let's see what we can do here. All right, getting there, getting there, getting there. All right, that's pretty good. All right, that'll work for now. Uh, okay. All right, so now what I want to do is give you, let's see, can you tell me whether or not you can see my mouse on screen right now? So my mouse is sort of circling around on the screen in front of Eclipse. I'm not sure whether you can see it or not. Can't see it. Okay. All right, I'll see if I can figure out how to get a pointer on screen. But I'm not going to do that now unless it's immediately obvious. Oh, you know what I can do? I can put a silly little uh, image in here. Let's see, let's add that. Or I can do text. Yeah, there we go. Great. Um, and the text I'm going to do is an emoji. What sort of emoji do we feel like using? Let's use object. Let's use a let's use a light bulb. That looks good. Great. And let's not use a light bulb because it doesn't seem to be working. Okay, let's use a big ol' let's use an X. There we go. And it's big. Let's make it a little smaller. And let's change the color so you can see it. I can't figure out how to do that. Um, oh gosh. can't figure out how to change the color. All right, well, let's see what we can do here. All right, so what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to manipulate an X in my browser. Okay, so this is the best I can do for now. So the X that's bouncing around on the left, this is Eclipse. This is the window that you open. This is called the workbench. So when you open it, you might get a splash screen that has sort of some icons for things that are supposed to be fast. If you go to Workbench, you should see something like this. There are a variety of different pieces on the screen. So the centerpiece here is where we edit code. This is an integrated development environment, and so we write code in this in the same way that we wrote code in Spider, or kind of like you write code in Jupyter Notebook. But instead of writing code through a browser, we're going to be writing code through a specific application. So what I did is over on the left-hand screen, this thing called a Package Explorer. In this Package Explorer over here, I opened up a project, which you won't have anything here yet, but you can see I drilled down, and eventually there's this piece of code right here called demo underscore demo Java here, and that opened up in the center screen. And now I can go into the center screen and I can edit it at will. This is the place where you can do your editing, and it has multiple tabs. So you can do a bunch of things with it that include, let's see, for example, let me just copy this for a second so you can kind of see how we're able to do stuff, although I know you don't have a project yet. I'm just making a copy of the same file and putting it in the same project over on the left, calling it demo2. And I can now open demo 2, and you can see that like normal, I have tabs that I can switch between, but I can also drag and drop them, and they sort of form nice tiles if I want to do that. I can also adjust the boundaries between the panes by grabbing them and making them bigger or smaller. And if I double click on the tabs, if I double click on the top of the tabs, it will expand the different components in different ways. And you can double click on the tab to make it go smaller again, double click on the tab to make it go bigger. I don't know why that one's not working right now, but that's sort of the general idea. And then click the X to get out of the tab. All right, in Spider, there was this idea of a console where we would write out things to the write out things. And so we can do that in Java too. So we can do system.out.println and do hello world. And when we run this program using this green button at the top, down here at the console is where we see the output. Something didn't go right. I must have run the wrong program. So I'm going to right click on the program I want to do and do run as a Java application, see what happens on the console there. It's going to ask me to save it. And there we get hello world. Okay, so let's go through the process of creating a new project that writes hello world. And you can either do this on the side if you'd like, or you can take notes and do it afterwards. So here we go. I am in Eclipse, and you can't see this on the screen, but what I'm going to do is go under my menu bar at the top where it says Eclipse and File. Under File, there is something that says New, and under New, I'm going to go under Java Project, and I'm going to select Java Project. When I do that, I'm going to get a pop-up window that you also can't see, but I would like you to be able to see. So let me see if I can add that to my broadcast. There we go. Great. All right, so this is the window that has popped up. It says New Java Project on it. And this is a wizard that's helping me to write code. So I'm going to put things into this wizard, and then Eclipse is going to write code for me based on what I put in. And it's going to set up my structure. So what we're going to do for project name is I'm just going to type in hello world. That's going to be the name of my project. When it asks me for my default location, what it's doing is it's asking me, hey, where in your workspace do you want to put this project? Now, a workspace is a directory on your computer, a folder on your computer. And so when you start Eclipse, it asks you what workspace you want to work with. And what that means is what folder do you want your software to be located in. that workspace is a folder on your hard drive, and Eclipse is going to put files in that folder, and it's going to create a bunch of subfolders to help structure your project. Java projects are very heavily dependent on the directory, the folder, and subfolder structure that's present in your workspace. And so if the folders aren't set up correctly, Java won't find the correct code to run. Mostly Eclipse is going to manage that for you, and it's going to show you a view of it over in your package explorer, but it's also it's also something you can manipulate directly through the file system. All right, so I'm going to use the default location, and you can see grayed out there. It's telling me the path name to what that default location is. And you can see that the first left here, it says /user/djp3/documents all the way down to workspace. And then hello world is going to be the name of the location. A little risky putting a space in my the name of a subdirectory. So I'm actually going to remove that and replace the space with a dash, because sometimes spaces mess up command line work when you're trying to work with folders and um, files. Next, it's asking me what JRE I want to use. JRE stands for Java Runtime Environment, and basically it's asking me which virtual machine do I want to use in order to run this code. When you downloaded your virtual machine from Adopt OpenJDK, you were able to pick which version you want. So what you should see here is Adopt OpenJDK 11 if it was installed correctly. If not, we're going to have to, you can either try and figure out how to install it correctly, or we can work with you on that in office hours. Um, you can see as we go through this why we don't start teaching people programming, we don't start teaching people computer science in Java. All of this stuff, all of this overhead to create a working Hello World program is a real turnoff to people who are learning computer science for the first time. Java is my favorite language. I think it's a very strong, well-structured, academically sound language that has a lot of good work behind it. It does, however, have a fair amount of overhead to get it to work. All right, so we're picking that project-specific ODK. That's JDK 11. That's version 11 of Java. Sometimes it's listed as 11. Sometimes you'll see it listed as 1.11 or 1.11. My project layout, I'm going to go ahead and have different places for sources and class files. Sources is the code that we're going to be writing, and class files are bytecode. It's the compiled version of your source code. And there's some options for managing your project with working sets and tags that I'm going to ignore for now. All right, I'm going to go ahead and hit next, and it's going to give me a lot more detailed information about what kinds of things I want to have set up for my project. For the most part, all of these tabs will have good defaults, and I don't need to worry too much about it. The only one that I think we'll be fine with all of these actually. And I'm just going to hit finish. Module name is something relatively new that I, I have never really needed. So we're just going to use the same name as our project for the time being. Oh no, I'm going to hit don't create. That's what I want. I just don't want a module. Don't create. All right, so what should happen after you do this is over on the left, you should see a Hello World project show up. It is in an accordion structure, and this is not exactly showing you, oh, sorry, you're still seeing the pop-up window on screen. Let me make that go away. Okay. Over on the left, you see Hello World project has shown up, and it's an accordion structure, and so you can open that up and you can see that you have some information about the Java runtime environment that you're running. You don't need that. And you see some information about a source folder, a place where you can put your code. We don't have any code there. What we just did is created a file structure for the time being. All right, so what we would like to do is we would like to create some code for our directory, for our project that we have here. And in Java, unlike in Python, everything is object-oriented. You can't get even a simple program running unless you write a class. So all projects originate from a class. So let's go ahead and create a new class. And the way I'm going to do that is I'm going to select my source folder, and I'm going to right-click on it. And you can't see this on screen, but I have a little pop-up menu that shows up. And in the pop-up menu, I'm going to select New, and that's going to have a sub pop-up menu. So I'm going to select New after right-clicking on Source, and then I'm going to select Class. And I'm going to get a little window that pops up that shows me a little pop-up window with a wizard. So I'm going to show you that pop-up window for a second. And you know what I'm going to do? Let me take a second here and switch gears so that what I am showing you is a screen capture rather than a window capture, so that I don't have to quit going, so I don't have to go back and forth between these different windows. Let me move these down to a separate window. Um, All right, and let me change what I'm broadcasting from being clips to let me broadcast my screen. Oh, now I get a cursor too. Great. Okay. All right. Good. Let me get this sized right. And I'll get this all ironed out for us but before next time. All the things that we don't know we need fixed. Okay, stand by. All right, let me get that a little bigger. That's even small for me. Okay, so what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna start with the Java class here and get us through it. Okay, so our source folder, this is our subfolder on our hard drive where this stuff is gonna go. Package is also specifying folders within folders. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna use what's called a reverse URL notation. So like you see on URLs on the internet, we're going to do that, but we're going to do it in reverse. So we're going to do edu.westmont. We'll say CS-030 for now. And that's going to, we do that with the dots instead of slashes. That's something for Java that's just something we use in Java. I don't know. That's how we do it. That's going to create a folder structure, but it's also going to be a package as well. For the name, we have to give a name of the class that we're going to use, and I'm going to use Hello World here as the name of the class itself. We have some information about whether it's public or private. You may recall that from Python. We're going to leave it as public. We have some information about inheritance, which we're just going to leave as Java language object, which is the universal inherited object. And we're going to check here public static void main. This is going to write for us some code automatically that will enable us to start our program from this class. Finally, I'm going to hit finish. And I'm going to make that bigger for y'all. All right. All right, so this is what I'm seeing in game. And so for the record, now that I'm sharing screen, if you want to stop me and I'm not looking at the screen, you're going to need to unmute and talk because I can't share screen and look at Firestorm at the same time, at least today. Okay, so here we are. We're in our main method here, and let's look a little bit at what we've got here in Eclipse. We've got the package name up here. This is not an import. This is not a library process that we're working with right here. What we're looking at, let me just, I recognize that that's small on your screen. So let me see if I can really quickly upgrade the font. I used to have a presentation package. Let's see. Okay, it's just going to be what it is for now. What can I do? If I zoom in like this, can you see a little better? I don't know if that's working. All right, I'll work on that. All right, so for the time being, what we've got here is we've got at the top of our file, we have package edu.westmont.cs30. That's not an import statement. That's not a library. What that's doing is it's telling Java where this file is located. And so this is a folder hierarchy. It's in edu.westmont.cs30. So let's take a look at that. If I come over here on my source and I right click and I say show in my System Explorer, it's going to open that folder in my Mac or if you're Windows-based File Explorer. And you can see that there is now a folder hierarchy that reflects the package that I declared. We have a folder within a folder within a folder within a folder, edu, Westmont, CS30, Hello World, and here's my actual source folder. If I go up even further, this is how we do that on a Mac, you can see that my workspace starts here, and I've got tons and tons of projects in here from prepping class and whatnot. But the one that we're working on today is right here, and you can see there's a whole folder hierarchy here that's organizing my code for me, and that was all done by Eclipse. The source folder is where we're working in our source code. So I'm going to close that. All right, so I have declared where my code is located. I have the name of my class declared here. Now I have my first method here. My method is called main. It is taking one parameter called args. The type of that parameter is an array of string types, and what it returns is nothing. It returns a void type. These are some details about the structure of the method, which we won't talk about for now. To write to the console, what we do is we use a method call called system. That's the name of a static class. We call a method we access an instance variable within system called out, and we're going to call a method in that instance variable, which is called println. And in that method, we're going to pass it a parameter called a string, hello world. In Java, every line ends with a semicolon, every line of code. And the indentation that you see here, unlike in Python where indentation is necessary and part of the language, in Java the indentation there is just there for readability. So you as a programmer can see what's happening. This code is equally valid as this code or as this code. That's all the same, except that what we do is we indent one level to reflect the scoping within the project. If you screw it up, if it's all messed up like this and it's all over the place, Eclipse has all kinds of really nice tools. For example, if I do source and I hit format, it'll put all my code back in indented nice order. I would like to run this code now. When you run a Java object, the main method is automatically the method that gets run by default. And you can see that when we were working in Python, we tried to set that up as an expectation for you when you were writing your Python programs. In Python, it was just a convention. In Java, it is a requirement. So to run this program, the safest or the most least ambiguous way to do it is to highlight the object and the package explorer that you would like to run, right click on it, get the context menu, scroll down to where it says run as, and then choose in what way you would like to run it. Java application is the only one you should see for the time being. Turns out that there are other ways that you can run a program besides as an application, but for the most part, we're just going to run things as applications. We run it, and we're going to be asked to save our program. Java will compile it to bytecode, and then it will interpret the bytecode, and you can see that hello world gets written out to our console. If I change my code, hello CS30, exclamation marks, come over here and I try and right click and run it as a Java application, it'll save it and it will run again. All right, so that is great. That gives us about 10 minutes left in class. And what I would like to do is just give you an opportunity to try and make a class and to answer any questions that you have about what we've talked about so far. Actually, I guess what I'd like to do is I'd like to take attendance as well. So let me handle that. On Friday's class, as part of your daily work, you're going to be required to submit a class, a Java file, a file that ends in .java that contains text that will run a Hello World program. So between now and then, you can get that ready and see if you get it working. Friday, we're also going to try and get a collaborative code editor installed so that you can see what I'm typing in my Eclipse instance. And we'll see if that works. That might be overkill on getting tools going, but we'll give it a shot. All right, so in order to take care of let's see, grading, I need to pull up my grades, and I'm looking on screen again, so feel free to ask questions if you got them. Let me, okay, you can't see grades, so that's good. That's not, I want you to be able to see grades. While I am taking attendance, let me go ahead and have you work on your Eclipse basic. Let's see, we're in class 2. Your Eclipse basic project, see if you can set up a project, see if you can set up a class, and we can try and answer any glitches that you have along there. I am in game now looking at who's present and walking through and acknowledging people that are there. So I'm going to call out names. I think I'm going to stop my voice in YouTube and switch to in-game. Let me go YouTube for a sec. Sorry for the double post. Frank, if you are watching, I'm trying to take attendance. If you are watching, if you can put a comment in the YouTube chat channel, I can see that right now and I can give you attendance if you're watching on YouTube chat. I'm going back to in-game audio now. So shout out to Samuel Joshua who's watching from afar our live class. I'm glad you can join us. If you're interested and you can, gotcha, Frank. If you're interested and want to join us in game, I'm happy to give you credentials to come in game if you can handle it. Okay, that's attendance for today. We're good to go. I'm releasing those. I am at your service. Let's see, Bendy, gonna log out, log back in. Game voice isn't working. All right, I'm going back to game voice. All right, talking in game, check, check, check. All right, I am in game voice. Again, yeah, if you're watching on YouTube and want an account, let me know. We'll talk about it. All right, so for archival purposes, we're on YouTube and we are going to walk through the process of what happens if when you try and make a new project, you don't see the right JDK there, Jerry. So what you'll do is you'll go under New Java Project, you'll be creating a new project, and down here where you want to select Adopt OpenJDK 11, which is something we downloaded from the Adopt OpenJDK website, what we need to do is we need to have that show up in our drop-down list. And it's not if it's not there now, what you need to do is configure JRE. So JRE stands for Java Runtime Environment. This is this is where we describe what's in that drop-down list. And so if it's not present in the drop-down list, we want to add it. So we're going to click Add to add it as an option. Kind of complicated, but there's some. You want a standard virtual machine, is what VM stands for. You'll hit Next. And then what you're going to have to do, where it says JRE Home, it's asking you what is the home folder of the Java runtime environment. So you're going to pick your directory for that, and you're going to need to find the location where your Java virtual machine was installed. So let's find a particular example of where that might be. So if I go to one that's already installed, you can see that on my computer, on my Mac, the place where it was installed was in /library /java virtual machine /adopt openjdk 11.jdk /content capital home. So you want to find a directory like this that if you're on a Mac that ends in home, otherwise you want to find the equivalent directory on your hard drive in Windows or Linux, wherever you're operating. If you don't remember where you installed it, you can either install it again and pay attention, or you can do some kind of a disk drive search in order to understand where it is. You want to make sure that when you enter this directory, it ends with home. That's the sort of anchor spot where the virtual machine is looking for. Then you can give it any name you want. It should give you a default name there. Shouldn't have to change anything down there. Hit finish, and then it should show up here in your list of options. So see if that is enough information for you guys to tackle that. I'm going to switch to in-game audio. Test, 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 test. All right. All right. Hey, Internet, thank you for your attention. I will see you next class where we will do our Hello World object and go from there. We'll go out with some music. No, we won't go out with music because if I do that, YouTube might actually prevent me. That's an interesting thing to remember. YouTube, I might have to get some open source music. Okay, so we will go out with music because we'll go out with music. I don't know because I want to. All right.
Thank you.
Thanks, Addie. Or I think it was Addie. Maybe Dee Dee. Thank you. Okay, Internet. Thanks for your attention. See you on Friday.